You notice that when Daniel was praying in Daniel chapter 9, the Bible said for 21 days Daniel knelt down, he didn't stand up. That is power. There is a power that is stronger than opening blind eyes. The real power in the kingdom is the ability to stand in God's presence. A man never ate any pleasant bread for 21 days. He stood at one spot. That's power. When you read the Old Testament, you will find men who really have power. There was a time God told Ezekiel, lie on one side for 390 days. And for 390 days, Ezekiel didn't move. He was lying on his right hand side. When he finished, and you thought he would go on holiday, God said, turn to the other side. And he lay there for 40 days. A man was interceding for 430 days. That man is stronger than who raises the dead. Because a man who can bring his body under subjection is stronger than the man who can take a city. And so when he was saying be strong in the Lord, he was talking about an unleashing of a power that is on your inside. There's a power you have that can make you tarry in God's presence until you become like Mount Zion that cannot be moved. Did you notice what happened in the book of Ezekiel? After Ezekiel stayed there for a long time, Ezekiel didn't need to go out anymore. Anytime Ezekiel wants to go out, he will say, the Spirit of the Lord took me by the lock of my hair and carried me. Ezekiel began to travel in the spirit, because he tamed his body to a point where his spirit could come out of his body at will. It's a dimension of power that makes a man becomes invincible. We are too distracted by the world system. We are in every birthday, we are in every marriage, we are in every program, we are on every website, wasting our time when strong men are building stamina on the altar. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. The word power of his might is synergy. Because see, when you become strong inside, you will notice that other entities that are like you will begin to come to you. Because your friends are not only on earth, you can also make friends in the spirit. The reason you have not made friends in the spirit is because you have not stayed long enough. Stay on the altar for 3 months and see who will come to you. You will be shocked that while you are yet there, Gabriel will show up and say, I was given speed, I was made to fly swiftly to come and give you skill and understanding. Wait on the altar and see if you will not see Zacharias, if you will not see Isaiah, if you will not see Enoch. They have not gone anywhere. The Bible called them the spirit of judgment made perfect. That's what Kratos is talking about. When Daniel wanted to contend with the prince of Persia, he needed connections. And there are some connections that are not in the government house. There are some connections that are in the throne room. And suddenly a cherub will walk up to you and say, I came to help you. That's why you will know that our helpers are many. When you pursue men and it doesn't work, pursue spirits. Our helpers are not only natural. There is a place you will get to. You will be shocked that Catherine Kuhlman just passed to glory. And through priesthood, you too can enter glory. You don't need to die to go to glory. You can go to glory through the altar. One can go through dying, another can go through the altar. And when synergy is achieved, something will change. Did you not read about Jesus? The Bible said in Matthew 17 verse 2, after 8 days he went to the mountain to pray, and he said suddenly there stood with him Moses and Elias. That is Kratos. When that man comes down, he can take a territory, because it's no longer one man. He is one man, but he's fighting with the strength of many. There are many prophets that walked in Kenya before now. When you pray and you don't know what to do, stay there. The prophet that conquered Kenya 20 years ago can still come back to tell you what he did to subdue the Kenya of 20 years ago. The power of his might. The earth is a distraction. This world is too noisy. See, sometimes you need to hear stories of witches and understand what they do. A witch can go on 100 days fast, not looking at the sun, to be able to meet a demon that has wickedness enough to afflict with death. A witch can be indoors for 8 months, and that witch may only drink water and maybe light food once in a day, and for 8 months that witch will not step out, because the witch is preparing herself to meet the devil. And a principality will come to that witch and empower that witch to be able to subdue sister. And so that witch doesn't need religion. If he enters your office and you don't have the stature to dethrone her, the day she enters that office, that day you will leave that office, because of the weight of her priesthood. She came with 8 months of fasting. She came with 8 months of intercession. She came with 8 months of communion with demons. You are strolling about on Twitter and on Instagram, and you put your hands in the pocket. You want to fight a witch that has more education in the spirit than you. We have all the advantages, but we are illiterate in the spirit. And the reason is because we have not waited long enough, because we don't have the power of his might. There's no synergy. Do you know how many intercessors can bring down Kenya? Do you know how many angels must be deployed for Kenya to be won? What is the spiritual strategy? How many men are even aware? Before the Holy Ghost came down, they needed 120 intercessors. They knew, and so they gathered in the upper room. When the time was right, the Holy Ghost came down. How many intercessors are needed to take Kenya? How many angels are needed to trigger the revival in Kenya? How many hours of prayer is required? How many quorum is needed in the throne room? What is the weight of litigation required for Kenya to appear before God? You don't read that in the book. It is shown to you. We lack spiritual intelligence. Sit down. Sit down. I don't want to go high yet.